Hello and welcome. My name is Brian Caplen. I'm here with James King. We're reviewing the top 1,000 rankings, and James, you've been doing some of the research on the Asian listings. Now, in the main rankings, we saw Chinese banks come in first, second, and really dominate the ranking. So tell us a little bit about what non-Chinese banks did, and what about the Japanese? Because the Japanese were very big in the 1990s. How are their banks doing in the current ranking?
Well, Japanese banks had a very mixed year over the last 12 months. They've posted increases to their profitability, which has largely come from sort of foreign lending activity and also from sort of trimming down some of their activity at home to sort of balance their overall books. But what we've seen is Japanese banks pushing into Southeast Asia, following their corporates into the region, and really pushing on that side of things to find growth.
Okay. Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens with Japan, because we're seeing this sort of big Abenomics kind of process going on, which still hasn't been completed yet. But if we turn to Southeast Asia, huge region, some very big countries there: Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand. I mean, let's talk a little bit about Thailand, where we've seen some sort of political troubles. Has that impacted on the banking sector at all?
It doesn't seem to have this so far. I mean, we've seen 3 Thai banks in the top 25 this year for Asia, and 2 of those were new, Krung Thai Bank and Siam Commercial Bank. And really, Thailand's banking sector has performed quite well over the last 12 months. It's very well regulated, they're well capitalized, and actually quite highly liquid. So the Thai banks are being quite progressive in terms of looking for new markets. In their own country, actually, there's massive growth potential in northeast Thailand, so they're pushing into these areas and trying to develop new opportunities for growth.
That is interesting, isn't it? Because I mean, I think it's obviously one of the sort of bankers' responsibilities of the magazine is to kind of paint the other side of the picture when you see the headlines which have the political situation, but then you find out that the underlying economics are rather good. It seems to be the case with Thailand. And what about Indonesia? How are the banks progressing in Indonesia? They
performed quite well in the rankings this year, but actually the key story from Indonesia has been actually M&A activity coming actually from Japan and this wall of money from Tokyo. So we saw Sumitomo Mitsui buy a large stake in BTPN in Indonesia. So again, it's a story of some of the more developed economies pushing into these higher growth markets in Southeast Asia.
Okay. Thanks very much, James. Of course, one of the things just to say there is obviously when you have an M&A, it does push a bank very far up the rankings very quickly.
That's right,
Thanks.
yes.